Ladies and gentlemen, it's episode 62 of the Wheels Blues podcast, and joining us this evening, we have your host, Sid Smith, and Justin Riedler, who's flown in all the way from Calahoo, Alberta.
This is
Justin, how was the flight?
it was a little stressful, man. You know, it's flights are always stressful now, but now you're in an enclosed space. You don't really know who's on the plane with you, so it's time, man. You know, anything that you're doing in quarters now is just it's kind of a nerve wracking
Well,
time.
absolutely, I can understand that. I can understand that, absolutely.
I'm here, I'm bushy tailed, I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
All right, excellent. Sounds good. So we're going to start off with a little Charles Mingus and go into some James Taylor. I think he plays in the box, but that box is sweet.
Yeah,
Um, anyway, so how the hell have you been, man?
I've been pretty good. You know, just keeping on. Like I said, I'm kind of just waiting on some other people's to get some vaccines so I can be more around my boys and my family. Make sure they're all good because I've like I said I had my vaccine shot already, my first one. So I'm just waiting for everybody else to get on board so that we can do this in studio or we can go have odd night at other places and talk real
Do
loud in
stuff.
public about the podcast or just like it and make people uncomfortable in public.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's your second dose like? June?
Probably beginning of July, end of July, beginning of July.
Yeah. So it's going to be like September, I assume, till we all get like double vaxxed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if one of our fucking living people were a teacher or something. I think they kind of express read that, but
Right. If only the missus had, decided to be a nurse again.
yeah, well, yeah, it's time in this country now.
It is. It is. Yeah, she wouldn't want to be a nurse right now anyway. That would be awful.
Oh fuck, right? It would be hard. It would be
Yeah.
hard, especially in this town. She would have had to like deal with fucking a couple of my friends going. Like it wouldn't have been comfortable for her. She doesn't deal with death very well.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. What's going on with you? How have you been?
I've been all right. I've been all right. Just kind of easing back into the regular fucking 8 to 5 business.
Nice. That's good. That's
Uh,
good.
yeah, I've got Valhalla on the PS5, but like it's just so fucking dauntingly huge. Like apparently, you don't just do England, you go to Ireland, you go to the Americas, like it's fucking big. And it's just, it's been a little daunting. But recently I've found a reason to play the PS5 there, and I picked up Returnal last night, and my God, is that game fun.
That game looks so pretty.
It's so hard though, like man, it's a roguelike, so every time you die, the game restarts. Like now that I've gone through the opening sequence, when I turn the game on and load it up, it says PlayStation, Housemark, and then the game starts. There's not even a menu.
So, like, is there no save function?
There is no save function.
Oh, so it
So last
is obscenely hard.
Yeah. So last night I played for about 2 hours before I died.
Yeah.
And I think I have one artifact and a couple of ethers to show for it, and that's it. Because like your guns go, your boosts go, everything goes aside from like artifacts and ethers.
Wow.
As far as I know, like I've been watching a few tips and tricks videos because like the problem with modern games is you don't get a fucking manual. You don't
Yeah.
get a physical copy a lot of the time, and you don't get a manual that's gonna, kind of lay the groundwork. I'm sure there's a manual available on the console, but like, man, one of my favorite moments of buying a new game, especially when I lived in Lethbridge and had to take the bus places, was I get the game and then I had a 30-minute bus ride where I just read the instructions. It was fucking awesome. I miss that.
When I was younger and I was living with my brother and my mom and everything, me and my brother would play video games all the time, and like he'd be super annoyed that I would want to read the manual before we started playing. I
Oh shit.
make him wait while I sat there and started reading the manual and how to do everything.
Kids, man. Kids. Like, man, Final Fantasy 7, I had like I remember buying a greatest hits of it to, I had like the black case, And then I bought a greatest hits for like $30 or whatever, so I could carry the instruction manual around with me to ensure that I was like junctioning my material, not junctioning, utilizing my materia properly and that kind of shit, and no enemy weaknesses. Like that little thing was like a 30 or 40 page book,
Yeah.
And now like it's even hard to get an art book these days. Like
Yeah.
I'd love more art books, especially, or like strategy guides, Like I've got a few strategy guides, especially for Resident Evil, where it's just like they have so much backstory in there that isn't included in the game and isn't in the manuals and shit, and it's fucking awesome. And I genuinely miss that shit.
Yeah.
Like I'd love, to get a Returnal kind of development art book kind of thing, so I could, see it, learn more about it.
I would imagine if this game is successful, there will probably be an art of Returnal book.
I feel like it is going to be successful. Like everyone talks about how Sony doesn't really take chances on games anymore. They just want to do like the third person fucking action adventure, like they already want to, they're talking about remaking The Last of Us for PS5 already. And it's like, fuck you. Like that was an end of lifespan PS3 game that was already remastered for the PS4. It's easily playable, readily available. Yeah. Why? Just fucking why? And it's probably due to the HBO series coming out. But where's the new thing? Like apparently there's the Neil Druckmann and the I can't remember the chick that wrote Last of Us 2 with him. They already have like a rough draft of like the third game, and I'm like, well, just why? There's a new Uncharted game coming out, and it's like, why? Like new IPs, and Sony banked into Housemarque, and like Housemarque has never made a AAA game, like budget wise. They've never made a third person shooter. They're all like kind of like their games are, Dead Nation and Resogun, like they're arcadey kind of 2-dimensional or 2.5 dimensional games, or like top down twin stick shooters. And they put this game out and it's incredible. They've never had a real like story in games before, and the story is fucking dope so far. Like it's incredible. And Sony, they took a chance and it fucking paid off. So here's to hoping that perhaps like Sony in the future will be a little more apt to, throw some money at people who have strange ideas. But like they've already canceled Days Gone 2 because it didn't do as well as they wanted, and that's bullshit because it would be sweet to see what they could refine and make better in the sequel. And now I think they've got fucking Bend, Oregon working on like, they've kind of pushed them into Naughty Dog to make a fucking online shooter thing. For The Last of Us, but like, come on, let those guys fucking, I don't know. Like Sucker Punch seems to get freedom.
Yeah. I have complicated feelings about like sequels and franchises and stuff, because like with the Marvel movies, I like those and I want all of those all the time forever. But I know how people get sick of those. But I feel like and I do agree that you shouldn't be obligated to continue making the same kind of art. Even The Last of Us, like The Last of Us 2 is amazing, but The Last of Us was amazing too, and the way that game ended was a perfect ending for that game too. And it's awesome that they came up with a new story, and
that worked.
Yeah, it does work. But yeah, there is a thing to be said about having like creating new art or new experiences,
new IPs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like look at Ghost of Tsushima, man. That game fucking it's incredible. It's like what everyone who loves Assassin's Creed wanted Assassin's Creed to keep being, and then they did it better.
Yeah, that is literally what Assassin's Creed should have been, and but they managed to make it better.
Yeah, but the Viking world is fucking dope. I did that.
Yep. My hope with like I know that they'll make more Ghost of Tsushima. They'll make a sequel probably, and I'm super excited for that. And I hope to play it whenever I get around to getting a PS5 because that's where it'll be. But my ideal way that they would continue that is they would do like the Assassin's Creed kind of style where they would have a different character in different parts of history, just like kind of there would be like important invasions, important wars. Like they could have 100-year war, they could have something in China, they could have something in.
But then don't say it's Ghost.
No, and
like I feel like after Syndicate with Assassin's Creed. I think that was the last one that was kind of a traditional Assassin's Creed. They should have just dropped the Assassin's Creed. Like, it can be a byline in it, but like, yeah, okay, you meet the assassins in Valhalla, and I don't know how deep that storyline goes, but is it necessary? Like, just call it Valhalla and be like in the world of Assassin's Creed. Like, these games are not like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's not as intrinsically linked to the gameplay or the storyline or the progression of the game anymore like it used to be. You know, like Assassin's Creed 2, without the assassins, that game just wouldn't have won anywhere.
yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah. Well, that's why those first like 2 or 3 games are the best of all the games. And I really do like the one in the French Revolution and the pirate one. But even the pirate one wasn't really had anything to do with the assassins, and that was an awesome game.
Not really. Yeah, Rogue did a better job because you play as a Templar in that one.
Yeah.
And it came out like fucking, I don't know, like 2 months later, because you know they're kind of like an Activision with the Call of Duties. It's like, yeah, we'll put a game out every year. It's like, man, I don't, you know, 2 or 3 years, just 2 or 3 years. If you're going to make a game that takes you 150 hours, like that was my end time doing everything in Odyssey, then I don't want another one next year, because like I boogied through the last of the DLC on that before Valhalla came out, because I'm like, well, fuck, I still haven't beaten this one that came out 2 years ago.
Exactly.
You know, it's just a little much. Those games are bloated. Beautiful, fun, interesting, but bloated.
Yeah, they're way too bloated. I agree. You can streamline that story or narrative to be way less complicated and way less.
Absolutely. Well, like, did you play through Odyssey?
I got through, like, I logged like 50 hours in that game. I logged 50 hours of that game and I barely got off the first island.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the ending of that game just doesn't even make it feel worth it. Like, the beginning seems like it's this epic thing, and then the way it ends, it's just like, Like, I put in, I think at that point in time, like 96 hours or something, just for like something that like was meh. Yeah. Which is always a disappointment. And I think that's kind of a problem with open world sandbox games, is that they lose direction a lot of the time. And I really am super pumped about like the way Ghost turns out, is that it never loses its narrative.
Yeah, I honestly think that's probably the most impressive open world game that I think I've ever played, just because even the start, like I was saying, I think when I was telling Daniels or Tyson about playing it, I was saying, like, even the side quests, I think, are the best side quests in a game, because they're kind of like little narrative stories.
Well, yeah, and they're linked to people who, in the end, are meaningful. They're impactful. They're part of that world. And you know, when you help that old lady fucking track down the killer of her family, and you see her like mental degradation, like it means something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like my eyes welled up twice in that game.
Yeah, me too.
You know, and that's incredible. Like, to get that kind of emotional impact from that sort of thing, like, man. And that's something that's kind of lacking from Assassin's Creed, and it's never really been that kind of game franchise, in my opinion, like Assassin's Creed. But you know, doesn't mean they can't put a little more effort in.
And it absolutely could be like it's a rich mythology, and they could absolutely make it more emotional and impactful. They could.
Exactly. And like Odyssey had a cool thing, which was like tour Egypt, and you could just run around the map and like basically get like guided museum tours, but through like a 3D representation of the area and the time.
Yeah,
which I think was one of the coolest fucking things about that game.
That is very
like cool. Battle Lego Osiris and shit was awesome, and like the mythology of ancient Egypt was badass. The environments were cool, but that tour, man, like I spent probably 30 hours just going through and learning about how they did mummification or how they built pyramids. You know, and it's fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're learning that much.
Mm-hmm. But so tell me about Returnal. Like, what is Returnal?
Well, so like it's a roguelike. I just never understood the definition of roguelite and roguelike. So I think it's a roguelike, i.e., you know, when you die, you reset and start at the beginning again.
Okay, that's what roguelike means?
I don't know. I don't know these fucking definitions very well. and it's like it's procedurally generated as well, and that's part of the storyline. Is like, the first time you die, and like I can't last 2 hours now. I was doing well at the beginning. You kind of just it just kind of flashes, and like sometimes there's like weird tentacles and weird lights and weird imagery, and then you're in the ship crash landing on the planet Adipose, and then like she kind of has brief recollections of what's going on. And then she even notices like, oh, the world's different this time because it's all like randomly generated, procedurally generated. And you even find like corpses of yourself with like little kind of voice memos. And it's kind of her piecing it together. And like I haven't gotten very far, and I think it's going to take me a long time to get far, but like you find your house in the middle of this fucking swampy planet. And she's just like, what the fuck? That's my house. And it's just weird. It's weird, the imagery, the symbolism. I haven't really gotten my head around it too much yet. But so so far it's absolutely wonderful. Like it scratches all the itches. It's frantic, it's fast paced, it's beautiful. The lighting effects, the sound design. Like I'm using my 3D Pulse headphones. The sound design is immaculate. The fucking music is absolutely incredible.
Okay. Does the sound enhance the game? And like it's important to the story in the game and stuff?
100%. To me anyway. Like last night I kept just going, Shannon, the music. Holy fuck, the sounds, and trying to describe it to her, and I just can't.
No.
I'll get her to put the headphones on one day because it's incredible. They utilize the dual sense and the 3D audio like perfectly.
How do they utilize those two things?
Well, with the 3D audio, at least like in this world that I'm in, it's swampy. It's always raining, so you can hear the rain falling all around you. There's constantly creatures making like kind of, I don't know, like swampy dinosaur-esque sounds. I don't know if you can kind of imagine that. Yeah. Even when there's not critters, there's just life forms, and you can just hear them all around you constantly. And the music's like kind of a bassy kind of ambient, but it swells at certain points. Like you'll be walking, you'll go to a new area, and it'll just be like,
cool.
And it just like it's very atmospheric. Like they kill the atmosphere in that game. It is unreal. Like I instantly got sunk in. Changed my fucking LED lights to blue, and I was just like, oh yeah,
cool, nice.
Like it's stellar. And the dual sense, man, because it's always raining, you feel the raindrops just lightly all over your hands.
I gotta come over and try your PS5, man, because like I want to experience the controls of the PS5. Sound really cool.
Yeah, dude, this game utilizes it well. Like they have like the trigger stops, so like you can't pull the trigger all the way down. So I've been really learning how to feather the L2 button because you press it halfway, and it kind of has like a stop, and then it's harder to press. So you do it halfway to aim down sights, and then you press it all the way to like activate alternative fire, which still fucks me up when I'm panicking. But they utilize everything very well. It kills the controller battery pretty quick, but
yeah,
well worth it.
Yeah, I think that was one of the criticisms of controllers is the battery doesn't last very long on those.
I find it lasts the same as my PS4 controller, and the controller's better. So I'm really not gonna fucking split hairs about it. I personally think this is the best controller Sony's put out.
That's fair. That's fair.
And like I don't know, man. I've gamed for like 5 straight hours before I had to charge.
Yeah,
and,
that's standard.
Yeah, like my PS4 controllers maybe initially would go 8 hours, but they never do now.
Yeah, no, the same with mine.
But yeah, you will have to come over and play it. Returnal and like Valhalla, and I've got Dirt 5, which is pretty fun. It's a good racing game.
Oh, cool. So what's your favorite PS5 game so far then that you've kind of
Returnal.
Returnal? Is it really?
Followed by Valhalla. Mm-hmm. And I think Returnal is going to get bumped down to second next week on Thursday at 10 p.m.
What happens next week on Thursday at 10 p.m.?
Well, Village, good sir. Village comes out.
Wicked.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. And hey, let's talk about that demo.
That
You
was a
missed the
pretty sweet.
village demo,
That was a pretty
but you
sweet.
got to play the castle.
Yeah, I did miss the village part of the demo, but that's supposed to be coming out this weekend again, and it's like a week. I don't know if I
I
said that,
think I
but like,
think tomorrow, May 1st, I believe.
okay, yeah. So they're releasing it again, and it's I'm assuming it's the whole thing, like both parts.
It's
And
both parts. It's still a one-shot demo. You
yeah,
have the ability to play it from tomorrow, I believe. I don't know when, until the release of the game.
yeah,
But and both parts are included. But you only get 30 minutes in the village and 30 minutes in the castle
yeah,
still.
yeah. So I am planning on playing the village part tomorrow, or at some point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's well worth it. The village is cool. It's the werewolves
Mm-hmm.
that you deal with. It's a lot more story heavy, and it kind of sucks that the timer doesn't pause while you're doing the story stuff. But the story is well worth watching.
Oh, very good, very good.
And then and then the castle, like you dealt with the vampire thralls in the basement,
Yeah,
and
they were
got to
cool.
see Lady Dimitrescu
Yeah.
and the chick that turns into flies. I don't know which daughter that is, because there's three daughters.
Wow, are they just not like kind of like Dracula's daughters? Are they just not kind of like their version of Dracula's daughters? I know it's not Dracula, but like,
as 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 far as I can tell, that's kind of what they're going for. But again, like, I know nothing, and I'm kind of on a media blackout aside from the demo
okay,
about like what's going on with it, because I don't want anything spoiled for me.
right, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's easy, especially on Twitter, man. People like wrecking shit for other people.
They do.
Justin.
They're all about that. What did I wreck on Twitter?
Nah, I'm just fucking with you. But like, so what did you think? Like, you're not a really big first-person shooter fan. What did you think of the first-person shooting
I thought it
sequences?
was very atmospheric. I feel like when playing in at night definitely assisted and helped with it, and I was able to put the difficulty down to like I guess beginner or
Yeah, the easy.
whatever, which makes it less stressful when I'm doing the first person shooter parts because the aiming and the rapid fire shooting is not really something I'm quick with. So, but I really liked. I thought it was super atmospheric. I would like to see it on your PS5 as well, just because I noticed on the PS4 when I played it that there's like it's not as rendered, probably as pretty. Like the textures and the black
Yeah,
is kind of like it's kind of got like that splotchy like watercolory paint kind of bleed effect.
yeah, I definitely noticed that in switching between, so I could play the one-shot demo twice.
Yeah,
So I played it on the PS5 and then went to the PS4, and like, yeah, that's the HDR, right? It gives you
yeah,
that really, really black blacks,
yeah.
and it's way darker. The lighting is way better, and like, it's fine on a PS4, but like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever bother playing it on the PS4
Yeah, I
unless
would
they
imagine.
integrate VR, and even then,
Even that
hopefully
main
it'll
hall,
be oh
that main
right,
hall with the crystal and
the big chandelier.
yeah, the big chandelier and all the mirrors and like all the reflections and
Oh man,
stuff.
it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah, man, I'm so excited for that game.
And I really like, and I think the storyline of that game I'd enjoy a lot more than your typical Resident Evil games, just because it's not about zombies and kind of like a pathogen or whatever.
Yeah, well, I have sneaking suspicions. That I have theories that it is going to be. It's not vampires and werewolves. It's going to be like. I feel like it's going to be Umbrella or some sort of subsidiary of Umbrella, some sort of new bio weapons firm
Oh,
that is using a small Romanian village or wherever the hell it is to cloak what they're doing into fairy tales so that the
oh,
locals witness it. But they just think it's their weird small town superstition. Like, they're kind of isolated from the rest of the world in the sense that they're not technologically advanced. They're a small, poor village that has been kind of ruled by Lady Dimitrescu
mm-hmm,
and her winery for like,
mm-hmm,
ever.
mm-hmm.
And so because there's a fairy tale kind of feel to all the trailers at the beginning. So I think it's just going to be, these are different genetic experiments or different bioweapons like BOWs,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
but it's just going to utilize folklore and different enemy types.
Wow, interesting.
Well, that's my theory. And I feel like if they don't do that, I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if it's just like, no, this is legitimately werewolves and vampires.
Did they do that in any of the other games? Did they kind of take like folklore and kind of use them to explain? I guess the Umbrella Corporation doing experiments and stuff. I know the zombies, obviously.
Not that I can really think of. Like, not in the main line. I suppose they never used folklore in 7 either. It was just like molded is what the enemies were.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were just basically like kind of a weird mold. And I kind of feel like maybe this place in Romania is like the origins of the mold, because the flower that they refine the T and G virus from is in Africa. And it's just this one spot in Africa in this cave where there's a beam of light coming down and these flowers grow. And that's how they kind of developed the T virus and later the G virus. So I kind of feel like the mold may have come from Romania and they just set it up in the bayou just because it kind of makes sense. Swampy area.
You think they'd ever like make a game where it's set in Africa in that cave and they'd kind of be like a Descent style game where like you have to go into this like network of caves and that like would be like a Resident Evil kind of setting?
Resident Evil 5 did that.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're in Africa. And it's like, because that was one of the 2 games I was like, Justin, get one of these games and we'll play online, which we still haven't. We should play some 6 online. I'm trying to play through it right now anyway on the road to Village. Because it's fun and it's, it's co-op. And 5 was like that and it takes place in Africa. And, it's a different, it takes place in a made-up place, like a made-up African town, like Kajuju. Something like that. Fuck me. I just played through that game recently. I should know better. And it's a different virus, like a different kind of strain. But that's what all of the all the games, not all of them, but 1 was the T virus, 2 was the G virus, 3 was the G virus as well. It takes place the same time as 2. And there's different tyrants and different like weird biological experiments that they've done. And there's like all sorts of different creatures and stuff. But then there's like the T Abyss virus in Resident Evil Revelations, which is kind of like I think that's how like Neptune was created, which is like a kind of like a super powered shark. And there's a lot of kind of oceanic stuff because you're on a cruise ship in that.
Oh, cool.
I can't remember what the virus was, or it was like, so there's multiple Wesker children, and Albert Wesker is kind of like the bad guy from the first one. And the 5th one, voiced by DC Douglas in the 5th one.
Oh,
I lost it already.
DC Douglas or EC Douglas? Is that you said?
Oh yeah, Albert Wesker. So apparently there were like 13 children that were kind of genetic experiments, and they're called the Wesker children. And so you in Resident Evil 2, it's Alexa Wesker, something like that. Fuck, I can't remember. And she does weird biological experiments, and it's not like the T virus or anything. It's like weird creatures that she creates. So it does kind of change shit up.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So like each game is kind of different, but like zombies kind of have been sort of cut from the mold, I feel.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's a pun because the mold in 7. Haha. But yeah, I'm excited. There's like 13 fucking games, including the offshoots.
Yeah, that's a lot of games.
Yeah, shit gets weird. Shit gets shitty, and shit gets awesomer. And, but Village is shaping up to be absolutely fucking wonderful.
It'd be pretty amazing if they had like a whole series of 13 games and they were masterpieces.
Yeah, but that's you can't expect that because for some reason Capcom always wants to take that game to the action, and that's when like I kind of fell off the series with 4 because it was so action heavy, and I'm like, this isn't scary. What the fuck is this? And it was like 30 fucking hours long. I'm like, I don't know. I like a game taking me 7 or 8 hours, and then I can speed run it in like an hour.
Are they normal? They're normally fairly short games then.
Well, yeah, like my first time, like taking your time, especially because you're figuring stuff out. You get lost, you're trying to solve puzzles. You don't know where to go, that kind of shit. I think my main man Johnny Struggs recently discovered the Resident Evil series on his Switch, and he played the remake of the first one. And I think it took him like 26 hours to get through it. And people speed run that game in like 80 minutes.
Uh-huh.
because they just know where to go. They know all the shortcuts. They know what enemies they can leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think Resident Evil 3 and the Resident Evil 3 remake I can do in like 52 or 54 minutes. But my first time through those games was probably in the double digits of hours.
The Resident Evil remake that just came out, you can do that in like an hour.
Yeah, like 50 some odd minutes is my best time. 54 minutes, I think.
Like wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, the Resident Evil 3 remake. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, man.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
If you know what you're doing and you know where to go.
That's fair.
And you can also unlock shit that makes it way fucking easier.
Yeah.
Like unlimited ammo or like rocket launchers, or I tried to do a hot dogger run the other day, which is like this fiery knife, but I kind of lost interest.
So you can do it in 52 minutes, but you need like cheats and stuff, do you?
Well, stuff you unlock, they're not really cheats, but I think I could probably do that game without cheats in like 2 hours.
That's not bad.
And my first run of the remake, I think, was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
Which I don't know. People complain about the length, but I'm kind of a fan of shorter games. Like give me a good 10 to 20 hours and replayability. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those games have replayability. Like I've beaten on all the difficulties. I've done all the challenges. You know, and I still go back and play it from time to time because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I got to try and get you into the Resident Evil.
I know.
If only there was a way to play the original 3.
I think maybe I'm just not as into video games as like I used to be. Like I used to play way more when I was younger, and probably like when we first started hanging out, I was way more into video games, and now I just feel like it's like books too. I got to be hooked. I got to be hooked really, really quick, and if I'm not hooked, or if I feel like I'm not progressing or like it's going anywhere, I kind of lose interest really quick. And I mean, that's an attention span thing. I know I've got to work on that. But my attention span, I lose attention a little bit quicker than I would like, which is interesting to me because I can watch fucking 7-hour movies and fine.
Yeah, and I can't do that. I can't dedicate to a series. Like I love Game of Thrones, and I still haven't finished it.
What the fuck? Oh.
I just can't. I get bored. I'm like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah, no, but see, you can play video games for like 10 hours and be fine.
Yeah, sometimes I'm slowly getting my interest in shit like that back. You know,
yeah.
Like I haven't really been able to read or watch stuff or play video games for the last few months, so I'm kind of easing back into it. And like even with reading, like man, I had a buddy come over a while back, and I was super loaded, and he's just like, oh, let's just sit and watch some anime. So we did, and I recently just kind of rediscovered anime. And on that note, I also rediscovered manga and my love of that, because I know you guys love your fucking DC and Marvel and shit, but man, manga is where it's at. Manga's and I hear you've been reading like some of the best stuff from the Godfather of horror manga.
Yeah, I've been diving into some Junji Ito. You were telling us about him last week, so I picked myself up a couple titles. I picked up Fragments of Fear, and I also picked up Uzumaki. That's how you say it?
Yeah.
Uzumaki, yeah.
Which basically means spiral.
Yeah, okay, so I've only gotten through the first 2 chapters of that. So that whole story is about the weird spiral thing?
Yeah, the obsession with spirals.
Yeah, the obsession with spirals. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Okay,
which
I gotta say, I'm more into the Fragments of Horror because it's a collection of his short story ideas and his short stories. So far, I'm not as into the Uzumaki just because, like, the spiral thing. And I think with manga and anime, I know this sounds ridiculous coming from someone who thinks magic hammers and frisbee shields and like is like plausible and lightsabers and shit. I get it, I understand, but I'm finding like the spiral thing is hard for me to kind of grasp at the moment. But
it's an obsession, man.
Yeah, and it's absolutely very Japanese, and it's very like I totally see all the influences, and It's very, very kind of weird in Japanese, and I do like the art. The art kind of reminds me of like of like art you would see like old Japanese ink wash
Yeah, yeah.
in a
Well,
painting.
that's because they've been doing like anime style or manga style art for like hundreds of years.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Yeah, well, I did my art project not this year, but last term I did my art project on a Japanese artist on a Hiroshi Utagawa. I did or Hiroshige Utagawa. That's who I did my art project on, and he was one of the forefathers of Japanese woodblock paintings.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and a lot of the art in the Junji Ito books reminds me a lot of his art.
Yeah, Junji Ito is a talented artist,
He's
man,
very,
and a
very
talented storyteller.
yeah, he
Like
is.
you know in the first chapter, because like that's I've got partway through the second before we started this.
Hmm.
Um, Shuichi's father's room,
Yeah,
that's all spirals. Did you
yeah,
ever watch the film Dark City?
yes. I love Dark City.
So that murderer who is obsessed with spirals, and then that cop that got crazy and obsessed with spirals while looking, trying to kind of bust the case, and
Yeah, yeah,
his room is just full of spirals, and then
yeah,
later his cell is full of spirals.
yeah. Totally.
And that like instantly, I saw that room and I was like, "Holy fuck!"
I,
But this goes
I,
way more like it goes way more Lovecraftian, or way more so far anyway, way more Lovecraftian, and way more kind of reminds me of like Takashi Miike and other kind of weird horror
yeah, no,
Japanese cinema.
it absolutely does. It absolutely does kind of remind me of more like abstracty kind of Lovecraftian and Japanese horror for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely, absolutely.
yeah. No, I'm loving it, man. Like there's where uh the miss the fucking Saito-san is trying to get a bowl made from that girl's father. And
Yeah,
just
yeah,
even just that interaction, I'm sitting there reading it and I'm just like, I read it out to Shannon and she's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I'm like, oh, it's so fucking cool. Because I'm just loving it. I'm loving like the
yeah.
depraved madness that's slowly infecting his mind.
I do
Like
that
when he
actually.
rolls his pupils separately to make spirals, I can just,
Yeah,
I don't need these spirals. I can turn myself into a spiral. Like I'm fucking loving it.
yeah,
Even his son is like kind of, he's flirting with the madness of the spiral obsession as well.
yeah.
And like he catches himself and stops it, but you know, it's oh man, I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving it.
And that is a trope of Japanese like art, where like a lot of Japanese characters they do kind of like have an obsession of like perfection. That is a trait of Japanese, even with like Hiro Miyazaki and like other kind of Japanese famous Japanese artists or people like they're perfectionists, and they will do it over and over and over, or they will just work on one thing obsessively until
Yeah,
it's absolutely perfect.
it is absolutely like kind of part of that culture, right?
Yeah, absolutely, it is absolutely like that. So
But yeah, no, and I'm glad we could kind of, we should try and read a few mangas every once in a while and talk
yeah,
about them, so it's not just polluted with MCU nonsense. No offense.
I'm kind of offended, but that's cool. No, but yeah,
Are you actually?
oh
Actually,
no, no, I'm not. No, no.
dude, and
Hmm?
go ahead.
What's this? Yeah. So yeah. Once you're done Uzumaki, you should read Fragments of Horror because I'm enjoying that one a lot better. I've read the first two chapters, and they're short stories, like short horror stories, and they're all kind of like the same Lovecraftian weird.
Yeah,
Text.
I feel like he's kind of got that flair. Like I'd love it. Kind of makes me two things. I'd love him to make a video game with Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, that would be.
That's like,
Yeah.
because I think they're both outlandish. They're
Mhm.
both they're both weird, but I feel like Junji, from what I've read of his so far, which isn't very much, I feel like it would kind of keep it more grounded than Hideo Kojima tends to make his games.
Do you think so?
I kind of hope so.
Well, I'll give you a little spoiler. One of his short stories is about a girl that is Sexually Obsessed with the House.
Ooh, sounds
Yeah.
kinky.
It's very kinky and weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. It's not even that hard. It's not even expensive for the hardcover
No.
because I've only got a shelf of manga left, but I definitely like having
Mhm.
when reading comics. I like books instead of screens.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I do as well. I would prefer to have like paperbacks and like in actual comics, but they're just so damn expensive now.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I think Uzumaki was, yeah, it was $38.
Yeah.
And I did buy it on my phone because it was on sale in Comixology for $10. So I was just like, because I got to catch up when you wanted to talk about it, and I saw it in the WhatsApp. I'm like, shit, I haven't even cracked that book open yet.
Oh,
So yeah, we should. We'll probably have it read in like 2 weeks' time anyway, because it
oh,
is like it's quick read. It's 600 and some odd pages, but it's it's a comic book.
comic book. Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it would be good, and I've got a lot of series that we could try and get through as
Mhm.
excuse me as well, like Blade of the Immortal, Gunsmith Cats. I've got a pretty violent horror one
Blade
that's
of
good.
the
It's called the Bitsu.
was Blade of the Immortal turned into a movie?
Yeah, and an anime series.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've seen the
So
movie.
yeah, about
Rad.
the immortal swordsman who has like 200 swords.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super good. I've got 5 or 6 volumes of it.
Oh, nice, nice. And,
Yeah,
and,
and
and
another.
you had Lone Wolf and Cub too, right? Didn't you?
I've got 4 volumes of the
Yeah.
28 of the original, and I think I've got 10 issues of Lone Wolf and Cub 2100,
Yeah.
which I I can't recall, or I'm not 100% certain, but I'm fairly certain that it's an American writer and artist for it
Okay.
because it looks, feels, and reads like American comics, which kind of
Ruins it for you.
yeah, a little bit.
That's fine. That's fine.
Hey, I've got a quick question for you. Do you happen to know what year Dark City came out?
Like the movie,
Yeah,
1998.
1998.
Yeah,
Oh, weird.
1998.
I wonder then if Junji Ito was at all inspired by the spiral killer in that. I know it's a minimal part of the story, but he started drawing Uzumaki in 1998.
I don't know. It's entirely possible.
Yeah, and there's apparently a live action movie.
Of Uzumaki.
Yeah,
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
so maybe when we finish this, we should get together and watch that.
Yeah, sounds good for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Nerd corner, video games and anime, manga. Yeah, man. I'm getting into it. I think it's going to be pretty fucking sweet.
Mm-hmm. Well, what else
Yeah,
did
there's.
you do this week? Sorry.
Oh no, nothing. Go ahead.
No, I'm just asking, what else did you get up to this week, or did you have
Oh,
more to add about the Junji Ito?
oh yeah, no. No, because I haven't read enough to keep talking about it with any sort of fucking knowledge.
No. Did you read
Uh,
anything else this week? Like read any other kind of manga that you recommend? Because it seems like you could bounce around a little bit with your manga and your video games and stuff.
yeah, well, a little bit. So I picked up two manga when I was in Edmonton, and I regret not getting more, but I just couldn't really justify spending more than I think it came to $60 for these 2 books.
Mhm.
And there was like 2 other ones that I had in my hand, and I really wish I would have taken pictures of the cover because I can't fucking remember what they are. And I couldn't find them on the store. I like searched through fucking chapters online.
Mhm.
But I did get by Haruto Ryo, and I think it's his first outing into manga. It's another horror. And it's about it's called Ibitsu, and
Okay.
it's about I'll just read you the little back here so I don't fuck it up. Urban legend has it that a girl in gothic Lolita garb will sometimes appear at local garbage drops in the middle of the night, putting a question to passersby. Would you have a little sister? To reply is to seal one's fate and meet with a diabolical death at the hands of none other than this twisted sister. And tonight, another man will fall prey to the horror. And it's stellar. Like I couldn't put it down. It's
You mentioned that briefly last week too. I think you told
Yeah,
that one sounds really interesting. I'd be interested in that.
it's dark.
What's that one
Like
called again?
it, Ibitsu,
Bitsu.
Ibitsu.
Okay, cool.
And I think this is like 400 pages, and I read it in two settings. The anime style is super sweet. Like it's good. It's unnerving. It's pretty violent, but the violence isn't constant. And then there's two little kind of like two little mini stories in it. I
Okay.
think it's like 13 chapters, and then there's two side stories that kind of tie into the world.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe once I'm done with these Junji Ito books, I'll dive into that one.
Yeah, man, it's I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I read it in two sittings. I couldn't sleep one night, and Shannon got up for work at like 5:30 in the morning, and I was just sitting under the lamp, wrapped in blankets, like reading it. And yeah, absolutely love it.
I am also reading a older comic series by Jack Kirby. It's the New Gods. It was part of the package that I got from my art teacher at the end of the semester. He sent me a big box of Jack Kirby like hardcovers and comic books and stuff. And
Could I have a could I have just a quick let's tell people who may not be familiar with Jack Kirby why that name is meaningful.
Marvel Comics. But yes, Jack Kirby is the original forefather artist. Jack Kirby is kind of the visual creator of Marvel Comics. Every famous Marvel comic character other than Spider-Man was created by Jack Kirby. Literally all of them. From like if there's a character that was created from like 1939 to 1975 ish, Jack Kirby created him. And then once that happened, and then he left and he created a whole bunch of other different characters for DC Comics. And then that's what I'm reading right now. I'm reading a series called The New Gods, and it's all kind of it's like a deep kind of extraterrestrial mythology about these new gods, and it feels like it's kind of based off like mythology, like Roman mythology, and there's like a hierarchy. Have you heard of the character Darkseid?
Yes, but only because of Injustice games.
Right, that's right.
I
Yeah,
don't really know what his backstory is, but he's a badass looking motherfucker. I know that much.
yeah, he's kind of like the conqueror of like worlds or whatever, but he's like an alien kind of like god. But
Okay.
what he created was like he created that character's whole world, and that character is kind of like an outcast of like of the place called New Genesis, which is basically the home of the gods, and he's kind of like an outcast because of the way he looks and how he does things. But like Jack Kirby created this whole world of just all these different omnipotent or omniscient characters that just kind of like live in this little kind of pocket world away from the main characters of like DC Comics. But yeah, Jack Kirby is amazing. Jack Kirby's created characters all the way from like 1939 when he made Captain America, all the way to
Wow.
like 1975 when he created the New Gods.
Oh wow. So this was his like kind of his magnum opus, or at least his final creation.
Yeah, this was kind of like his big final creation.
So did it last a while? Like, is it a big series or is it a
It's
limited series? Like,
it's still a new series. Yeah, not new. It's still around. Yeah, New Gods
like
are
it's ongoing?
yes.
Okay.
There's obviously like different runs and like different kind of stops and starts. That's how comics work. Unfortunately, they started.
That's how those comics work.
Yeah, that is how those comics work. They don't write like 7,000 issues and just keep the storyline going. They reboot and start again and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, the New Gods are still characters that are being written about today.
I think just as a quick aside is I think that's one of the reasons that like the DC Marvel universe kind of bothers me.
Because it stops and starts.
Well, it just rehashes the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
Like I can handle watching an anime that's 900 episodes long because I'll eventually get through it. And
Yeah.
if I don't, then I obviously lost interest and I gained what I wanted from it. But
Yes.
like That's what do you remember the comic book shop here, my good friend?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah.
I miss that place, and I was thankful. Jay's wife, Shauna, the two owners of that place, when I don't know what she could just tell by like the music and the clothing I had when I went in there a few times because I bought McFarlane figures, and she's like, "Oh, well, if you like Spawn, you'd like all this other stuff," and got me into like Frank Miller, and I think that's probably my favorite Batman run is the Dark Knight run by Frank Miller. But it's only eight issues, and that's something I'm a fan of. Like I just man, I like self-contained stories, or at least self-contained in a universe where okay, there's this ongoing arc, but stuff like it's hard to put into words. Like I like the fact that there's 3 volumes of Uzumaki, and that's it. I like that Ibitsu is a one-time hit of like 300 pages, 400 pages. Akira is 6 thick-ass books, but that's all there is to it. And it's just nice to know that like, okay, cool, I'm done with this. I can move on. It's the same reason I don't like any sort of God, I can't think of the word. The games, like online games that just kind of keep adding shit, like Destiny and stuff.
Yeah, the MMORPGs.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, I like a concise finish, and even if the ending leaves me wondering or leaves me unhappy, it's over and it's done with, and I'm good with that.
Yeah,
like that's like there doesn't need to be a Last of Us 3. What's gonna happen? Fucking face smashed in Joel's not coming back. Fucking Ellie's not gonna get back with Dina. What is Ellie gonna be like? Oh, I came back and lost everything, and now I want to hunt down Abby. Like lamest fucking trope ever. Just end it and be happy.
Now that you've said that out loud, The Last of Us 3 is totally gonna be that Dina was captured and she's held hostage. And don't they have a baby or don't they have a kid now? I can't remember.
Yes, they do. The kid that she got knocked up with that dude that found them having sex and smoking weed.
Yeah, so I would put money right now. The Last of Us 3 is totally Ellie's journey to find Dina and that kid wherever the hell they are.
But who's gonna kidnap them? Like they're in a fucking secure big town, lots of people, lots of protection. Like Abby didn't even get in there. They just watched them, and then fucking Joel and his brother stumbled upon them scoping out the place. Abby was dead set on going in there, but they never did it because they wouldn't have fucking made it.
No, okay. I think we're talking about this different characters. Isn't that the end of The Last of Us 2? Aren't they at like some farmhouse in the middle of nowhere by themselves?
No,
they're not.
No, Ellie is after she like leaves Dina and goes off to fucking. She can't let it go. She has to fucking get revenge on Abby.
But
then goes through a heap of shit.
Okay, yeah, and then she comes back, but Dina's gone, right?
Yeah, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So like Ellie leaves, and like I know the game kind of alludes to the fact that Dina's probably going to be gone and she won't be there. But I totally
because Dina went back to the fucking village. Like, why would she not?
Did they say that explicitly that she went back to the village?
No, but why would she not? Like, she's not going to be able to fucking tend a farm, grow food, deal with fucking cattle, and raise a child by herself. And why the fuck would she when there's a fucking town of people that are willing to take her back in so that she can like have a community raised child and do that shit? You think she's just going to sit out there and wait? Like the whole thing was that she took her stuff and left. Yes, and Ellie was just like, oh shit, it's all gone.
Or was she kidnapped because she was waiting, but now Ellie has to get revenge?
Can I ask you, who in the fuck takes people's personal belongings when they kidnap them? And like thematically, you can't like there is a general theme and overarching story that touches on all sorts of different things with the Last of Us series. But the first game wasn't revenge. The second game was revenge, and how foolhardy and hollow the promise of fucking revenge can be.
I absolutely agree.
So they can't just make a third one that's also revenge again.
And I completely agree with you, and I don't even want them to make it Last of Us 3. But I'm just trying to hypothesize how they would do it, what they would do.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. I only heard about this information recently, and all I could think of was like, just stop. Just don't.
That's why I didn't even like bring it up to like you guys in our little chat room because I was like, oh, like I don't want this. Like, who cares?
Right? It's just
Yeah.
not necessary, man. I feel that the impact of that story was felt on both sides,
Yes.
regardless of what team you were on, like Abby or Ellie. The impact was felt,
Yes.
and I feel like the harshest thing that Ellie could have done in that end scene with Abby is to let her live,
Yes.
is to show her that it's not worth it because this has passed. She lost the father figure that took her through so much shit and fucking murdered fucking 100 people and deprived the possibility of a goddamn cure for the planet just because he loved her.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Abby did that because fucking Joel killed her father. You
Yeah.
know, like you know,
That's
it was like the endless cycle of revenge and the idea that there is just
yeah.
there's nothing gained from it. There was only loss from dedicating yourself to exacting revenge for something that's hurt you so bad that now your revenge consumes your life.
Yeah.
There is going to be hollow gratification at the end of the day,
That's fair.
unless Ellie killed her and went home and Dina was there with the kid and everything was all happy-go-lucky.
That would be stupid. I would have hated that ending.
That would have been a shit ending. That would have been a cop-out fucking ending.
Yeah, I would have hated that. I would have been super mad. I probably
All
would have.
right,
I would have thrown the controller down if Elliot had killed Abby.
hey, Dina and Child, I've done my revenge mission. Now I have nothing to live for but you and the child.
Yeah.
The fact that Ellie comes back and the only thing she had to live for, aside from that all-consuming revenge, is now gone, is the perfect. It's the perfect cycle.
Yeah.
Like I know there's like alternative endings that they had written, and I'd be interested to find out exactly what they are, but
Yeah.
there's no happy ending.
No.
And I think that's kind of the whole point, is that there's no happy ending
No.
when you're on a rampage, when you're so blinded by the blessings and the gifts and the love and the good things around you that you cannot sit still because you're so fucking angry about something. She let it go after giving up everything she had fucking built. She gave it up and then couldn't even find reason
Yeah.
to do what she gave up everything for. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I really fucking like that game. And
I
Tyson, I know you're
know.
never gonna play it, so I'm sorry that we just spoiled it because I don't think he's even gotten to Abby yet.
He's not. I don't think he's gonna finish it, man.
Oh, I guarantee he won't.
Yeah.
Fucking chud.
Oh well. I wonder if Daniels has even started Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh man, he's played it and he likes it, but
Okay.
he's such a fucking Call of Duty guy.
Yeah, he is.
Like
Did you see that?
like
Did you,
systematically just plays that shit.
yeah. Did you see that little video I sent to the room about T-Pain just yelling at people? And like,
Oh no, I didn't watch it.
it was
I
funny.
saw it.
It was just like, I guess he was like online gaming, and there was a bunch of people calling him nasty, horrible words, and then he just like obliterated them in like a minute and a half.
Nice.
Like in the game, he just killed them all in like a minute and a half. It was awesome. It was pretty funny.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Ah man, it's. I don't know where I was going. Eric's got that nice big new TV too. Like he should enjoy that fucking wonderful
Did he
color
get a new
palette
TV?
that goes. Yeah.
When did he get a new TV?
After the one he had broke too many times, and then I lent him my old one that barely worked.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough.
So it's like it's not as big or nice as mine. But it's really nice, and like the color is so crisp and vibrant. Like that. You know what I did when Shannon and I got home and set up this fucking the TV we got like last summer.
Yep.
The first game I played was Ghost, and I was like, I just want to wander around the countryside, and I don't even have a PS4 Pro. I just there's no HDR, There's no fucking 4K,
Mhm.
and I was still just like,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
apparently they're gonna make a sequel to that. I just hope it doesn't get clouded.
Yeah.
I don't think it will. Sucker Punch is pretty good.
Yeah.
Just
I even
end of that statement.
yeah. I even like their infamous games. I think they're
Dude,
infamous.
exactly right. The Infamous games are fucking dope.
Yeah, they're pretty dope. I agree. I agree.
And Sly Cooper.
Yeah, yeah. No, I played that, but I never like finished it. It was more like a platformer style game, but yeah, that was fun too.
Yeah, yeah, the cartoon,
Back in the day.
fucking cell shaded. It would the the biggest kind of piece of Sly Cooper I found in Ghost of Tsushima was the way he walks on the wires, and anyone on the ground just can't see him.
Oh yeah, that is totally kind of like yeah, that totally is
Like
kind of like Sly Cooperish.
even yeah, no, absolutely. I was just like, ah, damn, you guys don't forget your roots.
Yeah.
I think like Sucker Punch and Insomniac and obviously Naughty Dog are some of the best acquisitions Sony's ever made.
Yeah.
And that's why the PlayStation 5 is the highest, like it's outsold every other console in history in the first time. It's already 4.5 million units sold.
Hmm.
It's because of those fucking what's his name? I can't remember now. The CEO of fucking PlayStation.
Um,
Jim
Lloyd-
Ryan.
Lloyd-
No, Jim Ryan.
Oh,
He's the one who's like, we believe in generations, but nobody wants to play old games. And then his like reprisal from closing the PS3 and Vita stores was fucking awesome.
yeah,
But he like legit said we were wrong.
yeah,
Because like people love that shit. And unless there's a way that like I'd love to introduce you to the first 3 Resident Evil games, but I can't do that on a PS4 because you just can't.
yeah.
Like I was gonna panic buy games.
Can you do it on PlayStation now? Did they not have those games on PlayStation?
Not the first 3, no.
Okay.
Like if you had a PS3 still, you could load the discs that I have into that and play them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But aside from that, or a Vita, guy, get a Vita. Well, you can.
Well, no. Well, they went back on it. They're still going to make Vitas, aren't they?
No, they are not. They will never make them again.
Oh, okay.
I want to get a backup one just because they're never going to make them again.
Okay.
And like I've got a Switch, and the Switch is amazing. But like, man, that Vita.
I do want to switch so I can play the new Zelda game because Zelda's amazing.
Might I suggest the Switch Lite?
Okay.
It's only handheld is the only problem, but the D-pad is a real D-pad.
Yeah, my brother has that one.
Yeah, so do I, and it's also like $150 cheaper.
No, that's a good point. That is a good selling point.
Or just wait till Christmas time next year or this year, and apparently they're going to be putting out like not a Switch 2, but like an interstitial Switch, like, you know, the PS4 had the Pro.
Yeah.
It's going to be akin to that, and it's going to have 4K output when it's docked.
Oh, fancy.
So I think I want to pick one of those up for TV gaming on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But like that handheld's sweet, and they've got some weird, pervy ass, etchy Japanese games.
Yeah.
Not that I play those.
Doesn't it have like didn't it have like a 3D kind of capability too?
That's the 3DS.
That's a 3D. Okay.
Yeah, 3D without glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard on the eyes, but it's super neat. Just the fact that they could do that in a little handheld.
Yeah.
But there are people there were phones out. I think it was like a Google phone or something that had that.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. That's very cool. I'm sure within like 10 years they'll have those like hologram Star Trek projection phones.
Right?
Yeah.
They've the fact that our technology expands so quickly, I wouldn't doubt it. Like they've already in our lifetime, I don't think it was something that was ever commercially released, but I remember in old like PlayStation magazines, like probably fucking 25 years ago, 22 years ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 25 years ago, because the PlayStation is 25 years old. So it would have been probably about that old that I picked up my first issue of OPM before I even had a PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like I remember seeing ads. I don't know how late in the run of that magazine they were of like kind of frictionless pads,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of this. It was like a treadmill, but it was like those mini trampolines that people
Mm-hmm.
use for exercise, those little titty ones. It was like that, but it had this weird kind of strap system that went around your torso. And I don't know how actually frictionless the bottom was, but it was supposed to be something that like you could run and it would translate it to the game.
Yeah, wasn't that like their answer to like the Power Glove from Nintendo?
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
the fucking lamest peripheral ever.
totally remember what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, well, they also had like I remember you could buy. I think it was PS2 era. You could buy Rumble vests,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
and it
remember.
was definitely PC.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was something like that in the works for PlayStation.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I know with like VR, like the Oculus and the Viva
the
HTC, whatever,
Vive.
the Vive, yeah, the Vive. They're making like full body suits that like you can experience that you can play VR with.
All that like full
Like
haptic
like
feedback, and
in Ready Player One, full haptic suit.
that would be cool.
I do. Yeah, as soon as I saw the movie and I read the book of that, I was like, 5 years, man, 5 years. They will make that. They will make a suit.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they've already have like part of that technology, and
Oh,
even the immersion of again, you're like the only one on the crew
yeah.
that hasn't played the PS5, but even that controller is immersive, and
Mhm.
like I feel like I played the Call of Duty campaign with it with the haptic triggers and feedback on.
Mhm.
I feel like if I played online, I wouldn't want it on because it would just get kind of tiresome. But
Well,
it's still like even in Hitman 3, every gun you fire feels different.
oh, that's like you notice differences, like you can tell.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And that kind of stuff like that's immersion, right? Like
Yeah.
even though you're using a fucking controller, it kind of places you in the scenario or in the world, right?
Mhm. I wonder what since they're gonna remaster Ghost of Tsushima, if they'll use the haptic system to make the swords feel heavier. That would be cool if they could like make the
Are, are
katanas.
they are they remastering that for the 5?
Yeah, I think they're.
Why?
Yeah. No, well,
Just give a patch that gives like 4K 60 frames.
yeah.
Wait, I think it already does if you play it on
Maybe
the
that is what.
PS5.
Maybe that's what they do. Maybe it's not a remaster. Maybe they're only.
I, I
Maybe they're.
kind of feel like that's already the case.
Maybe that is only what they're doing is just remaster, just adding the patch.
But
But
I,
if they
I,
could
I,
have like haptic
I,
response, that'd be cool.
I feel like that game runs at 60 frames per second. I don't think it's probably not native 4K, but I wouldn't notice the difference. But I think when you play that game on PS5, it is HD, fucking high definition or high dynamic range
Yeah.
because the PS4 Pro had that, right? So
Yeah.
they could obviously have that in there. I've never seen it until the PS5, and
I bet
like
it does look.
maybe they'd add ray tracing or something, but like
Yeah.
this whole remake culture is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Like I bought Control when it came out,
Mhm.
and there was no free upgrade to the PS5 version unless you bought the Ultimate Edition of Control. That fucking it was on sale for like $15, so I bought it, and then it was free 3 days later, and I was like, "Fuck you guys!" Like I'm all for supporting Remedy because I love their games, but like, come on.
Yeah.
I bought that game when it came out. Give me the free upgrade.
I'm starting to notice that now. Before I'd like be quick to like rent a movie or like buy games that are cheap, but now I check online to see if it's gonna be a PS Plus or if it's gonna be like on a streaming service like immediately.
Yeah,
Just because then I'll be like, that's why you put it on there for like $1.99 or whatever it was.
yeah.
It's
The
gonna be
only
free in the week anyway.
the only games I buy that are on sale these days are if it's something that I really want. Like I recently picked up The Missing, which is a sweary game, and it was like 75% off, so it was $10 instead of 40, and I'm pumped on that purchase because sweary games are awesome. Like Deadly Premonition, they're just super campy. Like the Deadly Premonition games are campy. They're low budget, and you can tell, but it's endearing and not annoying. But it's also not intentional.
Mhm.
And like the dialogue's weird, but like I don't know, man. It's hard to explain it. It's like playing Twin Peaks.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Like
kind of what
you're
I get from playing Control. I kind of feel like Control is like playing an episode of Twin Peaks.
dude, the first time you go into a different room and it's just these huge block letters, it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, ooh, I already love this.
Yeah.
That game is so good. It gets hard, but it's good.
Okay.
Oh man, oh yeah, you picked it up. You were smart and picked it up
Yeah.
on the free. So, yeah,
Yeah, for
dude,
sure.
so worth playing. It's when you get to like 3/4 through the game, there is a lot of noticeable like frame rate drop and shit because there's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
But well worth trucking through. I hope you read all the files and shit because they're awesome. Like they you know, that's a game that most of the storytelling is through the files.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, no, I will.
Yeah, man. They even have like an Alan Wake reference in there. In fact, like the DLC, one of the DLCs is like about Cauldron Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I wish they'd remaster that and put it on a PlayStation console.
I did read that they were doing that, but I read it on like one of my like rumor like clickbait kind of websites. So
Well, I hope it's true because like I've messaged Remedy on several social media things going, so now that the IP is not owned by Microsoft, can we get that on the PlayStation? Because like apparently well, obviously Alan Wake and Control are in the same world, but apparently they're gonna like, yeah, and I think Rockstar owns the Max Payne IP now, but they made the first two Max Payne games, and apparently that kind of takes place in the same world.
Interesting. I can see that. I can see that based on that game. Like, yeah, I can see that being kind of similar, or like
yeah. Did you ever play the Max Payne games?
Like ages and ages. Like I played the first one, like ages and ages. I don't have any recollection of it. I just remember like kind of the enemies were kind of like just like spirity or I don't know, like ghosty kind of enemies. I think.
Oh, you're thinking of Alan Wake.
Maybe I'm thinking
because that was a 360 exclusive, and I'm fairly certain that I lent it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's Alan Wake, and like in one of the DLCs of Control, you kind of deal with a lot of Cauldron Lake, and you deal with like the dude in the diving suit.
Okay.
No, Max Payne was like initially like PS2 and PC, and it's about like this hard-boiled, gritty New York detective, and it's like a noir film basically, and it used bullet time. You pop pain pills when you get hurt, and it's like kind of storyboarded, touched up to look kind of like, you know, that Arkham Asylum Batman that's kind of oil painty.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like comic frames like that, but all voice acted.
Very good.
And it's just like Max Payne, his vocal delivery is just so fucking good. It's just like, my Beretta stirred nervously on my hip as I pulled into Roscoe Street Station. You know, just like super noir.
Is the is it Nolan North? That's the voice for that one.
No,
it's not.
No,
not Nolan. Who's the other one? The other guy that's like really super famous.
Troy Baker.
Yeah, Troy Baker. That's it. Yeah.
Also no.
It's not him.
This is like a small like Remedy's like and I feel like somewhere in Scandinavia.
Right.
Here, I'm just gonna look it up.
Cool.
I don't think it was anyone special.
Okay.
James McCaffrey.
Oh, okay.
And he was also the face model, which is hilarious because they kind of input faces.
Yes.
And it's super blocky PS2 era. And so, like, I just remember so many times on, like, later levels, me and my buddy Gordon, you get killed by an explosion, or catching fire was the best, because you'd kind of pivot your torso around while you waved your arms, and the look on his face, because it was photorealistic facial graphics, kind of, if you will, it's hysterical, laugh-inducing.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, no, he's been Max Payne through all of it, and he's just got such a fucking stellar, gravelly, like whiskey, cigarettes, and pain pills kind of voice.
Nice.
Oh man, I highly recommend playing the first Max Payne. You can get a HD version on PlayStation 4, and it's third person action. It is fucking hard, but the storyline is worth it. And like the man, I just love it. It's super noir, gravelly voice, the comic book instead of cinematics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you know, you're fucking trying to take down a drug empire. You're just like a detective living in Jersey, having the sweet life. Some shit goes awry, so you end up working undercover for the DEA and like the Punchinello family, trying to take down this giant drug ring that's like pumping Valkyr, which just makes people fucking nuts. I feel like it's kind of like a PCP kind of a drug, like a fucking weird disassociative.
Okay.
And yeah, man, it's fucking awesome. So many like, oh, what are you doing here? Forget about it. Like just super Guido.
So many like wise guy stereotypes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, oh man, yeah, no, it's so good. There's like a crazy dude, Jack Lapino, who I've written one of his speeches on the wall at the Legion, which was promptly erased, probably because it's weird. But he's just talking about being the wolf, and he's like tasted the flesh of fallen angels.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh, it's so good. But like, sorry, I'll cut the Remedy conversation shortly here. But like, have you discovered it in how much Control have you played?
Not entirely sure.
Okay, but you've come across like the film reels, of course, of like
I've gotten to that part. I've come across my first bit of film reels. That's where I've gotten.
Okay, have you come across any of the TV shows?
I can't really recall. It's been like 3 weeks.
Well, like there's like the little puppet children, and they're explaining why children need to behave when they're in the oldest house.
I don't think I've seen those.
Oh, yet. It's super weird, super creepy.
Okay.
But like, as far as I know, they've done that in every game. Like in the first Max Payne, you can stumble across TVs, and there'll be shows playing, like Lords and Ladies. Oh my lord, my lady, and it's just like, just farcical. And then there's like, what the fuck is the other one? My favorite one is called Address Unknown, and it's about like a fucking crazy dude named John who's like tormented by a murderer named John Mira, and it's just like.
So are these shows all connected? Is that kind of like the in-universe game connection? I guess like all these shows.
I feel like they are, yeah, because they like every one of the shows you find in Control, in Max Payne 1 and 2 just have this Lynchian flair, and I absolutely love that. I like David Lynch is fucking awesome. I love that kind of weird oddball. Things are normal, but they're so fucking far from normal.
Yeah,
I love it. I just love it.
Nice.
So yeah, like just that, you know, that Address Unknown, the flamingo speaks. It can speak here, and it speaks backwards, saying that mirrors are more fun than television. Like it's just weird. It's creepy. It's off-putting, and it's not integral to anything. But it's just this neat little addendum to an already weird, bizarre story.
This kind of fleshes out the world, makes it more.
Well, like not even that. It just kind of unsettles you. It just kind of makes you feel like the world's real and shit is fucking weird.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Like dude. Any Remedy game, I recommend. Yeah, they're so good.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get.
I don't think the double underscore is gonna show up.
No, I don't think so. He's stuck at the pizza place.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's all right. We've got like an hour and 45 minutes of fucking straight nerddom. We
do. Yeah, we got lots of stuff.
And I do apologize. I feel like I talked a lot, but
I'm just the mediator, man. I'm just the host.
Well, if it was still NPR hour, I'd still be the host. But we'd just be listening to jazz music.
That's fine. Maybe the editor will throw on some jazz this time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'll get at that bastard. Just fucking nice, smooth jazz opening.
Yeah, when he's done, taking care of his kid for some reason.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what you get for fucking making them.
What you get for making kids, you got to look after them.
Yeah, that's fucking mistake number one. Oh, yeah. Unprotected sex. Mistake number 2, not pushing her down the stairs. And this isn't a reference to, like, you know, his kid.
Yes.
Any kid, really.
Yes. They're all
Jesus, there it is. There's the terrible Sid.
The Will's Blues podcast doesn't condone killing kids.
No, but it does condone safe sex.
Yes, it does.
Protection. And unless you're putting in the effort to have a child, don't fucking do it.
Yes, exactly. You're not fit to be a parent. Don't fucking do it.
Yeah, exactly. But let's not get serious. This game, Jesus Christ. This whole podcast has just been straight nerd stuff with no serious discussion.
Yeah, it's been super, super fun.
And another quick aside. The Switch is the best for weird, weedy Japanese games. Because PlayStation doesn't really do that anymore. And, like, perviness aside, like, I'm not just talking about ecchi shit. Like, there's just good Japanese games on there.
Yeah, Nintendo seems to be like that seems to be their wheelhouse now. All the weird games definitely go there now.
Because they were like, oh, no hyper violence, no sexual content, no, never on a fucking family Nintendo console. Yeah. And then PlayStation kind of started, because once PlayStation headquarters moved to the States, I think they kind of started cutting out like the porny, weedy, fucking sexualized games.
Yeah.
And Japanese consumers were like, what the fuck? So Nintendo's like, we got you.
We got you.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been fun chatting, my friend. I hope the people enjoy this. This is like an hour and 40 minutes of just straight manga, video game, and comic book talk.
I dig it. I like it.
Yeah, me too. That's my shit. It's my wheelhouse, dog.
My last thing will say, don't invest in the stock market. It's a terrible idea.
Oh, hey, yeah, no, we can have a quick Wheels Blues stock corner.
No, we don't need to do that. No, just that is my stock market tip for the day. Don't invest in the stock market.
This is where it's good that Justin lives on the fucking first floor and not the 50th floor, so he can't throw himself out the window when he opens up the market on Monday.
Well, I'm not there yet. I'm not at that point in my losses, but I am definitely not very impressed.
I told you that vegan food box company wasn't going to make it.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand. No.
Well, because it's a fucking pandemic and Big Macs are cheap and easy.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. That's very true.
Sweet. I'm going to go get a Hungry Man dinner for $5.99.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get this vegan box thing made in Nelson by Dirty Shoeless Hippies. No offense to Dirty Shoeless Hippies. You people are usually pretty great.
$75.99.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not when you're not working and you're struggling to pay rent.
Yeah.
Especially in this town with the rent increases. Fuck me dead. That would have been a good rant for fucking Daniels.
Yeah, nobody's concerned about the ethical treatment of animals when there's a pandemic, you jerks.
Yeah, or the ethical treatment of people.
That's on that note, it's been episode
on that note
of the Wisdom.
It's here to tune in next week to hear more about fucking Uzumaki by Junji Ito, and my impromptu review of Village, and also like Returnal's like an 8.5.
Yeah, nice.
Out of 10. Though I don't assign numbers to things, but I will because it's easy.
But I also feel like maybe by next week we'll have finished Returnal, so you can have a full, complete picture of it.
Thanks, I appreciate the fucking belief in me.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
I think I'll probably beat Village before then.
Oh, that's fair.
Not before the podcast next Friday, but before I beat Returnal.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Peace.
Bye, friends. I hope you enjoyed.